Hi everyone, and welcome to the Capricorn July 2022 Illumination reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot, a place for you to better connect with and illuminate your own personal spiritual importance. And what does that mean? That means that today in this reading, we're going to be taking a look at a challenge that Spirit is asking you to face and overcome to better help you engage with your unique spirit, that part of ourselves that rises up and out to meet the challenge. And it's all in a better effort for us to be able to experience our own heroic capabilities so that we can better understand and see our path, our unique purpose, and better feel where we fit so that we can get closer to those wonderful feelings of emotional fulfillment about living our lives and living our lives authentically. Okay, so Capricorn, we're going to get right in here. We're going to go ahead and pull your preliminary cards to take a look at the energies that you're bringing into the month, what's going on around you, and then we'll get into more of what's the challenge? What are the blocks that are facing you this month? Okay, so we have Judgment. Judgment's a really powerful card to have. This is your internal energy, what you're bringing into the month. Ooh, and the Ace of Cups. It's interesting. Virgo had a similar setup, okay? And we have the Page of Cups in your external environment and the Moon at the bottom. Okay, we'll dive into all of this. So let's set it up here. Okay, so Capricorn, Judgment and Ace of Cups. You're coming in with a major internal change. Judgment is when we've heard the call to grow past a older version of ourselves and in a very simplistic way, to put that. It's a very important card. It heralds the end of a past version of yourself. And it can denote, it's one of those moments where we go through a very intense internal change, and it's all to help change our external environment. So it's almost like we're changing from within to change our life experience from without. So we start our growth period within ourselves. And with the Ace of Cups coming in, this is that beautiful reconnection to love of yourself, love of your experience, getting to be reconnected with what's in your cup, which is unconditional love for yourself, your uniqueness, the needs that you need to have met, the wants and dreams you have for yourself now at this point. And it is that feeling of when we grow internally that we can at that point sometimes reconnect to aspects of our experience that we might have turned our back on in the previous chapter, the previous version of ourselves. Now, in our external environment, Capricorn, you have the Page of Cups, which is, I like to look at this card as kind of getting back in touch with your own internal child. It's when we get back to that place of honoring what's in our cup, but we are approaching it from a more optimistic, innocent mindset. This is almost like the happy child that runs up to a stranger and wants to show them the new toy or the really cool thing that they've discovered. And they're just almost overflowing with this excited emotion. And they don't really care if somebody else thinks it's as interesting as they do. They're just happy that they've reconnected with something and they want to share it with others. And that's the environment. It's a very welcoming environment to bring this kind of energy, which, Judgment energy can be a little heavy. This is understanding that you can't go back. It's like the door has closed and you can't go back to the older version of yourself. You've now experienced something new within you, a new hope, a new dream, again, a reconnection to something within your cup that you really want now to bring out and really reconnect in this way with your life experience. And it's lightening up this more heavy energy that you're sitting with, the energy of change. Now, what you're going to be kind of unlocking about yourself this month. The Moon is that card that really kind of heralds that element of a lack of clarity, where the way is unclear, where we have to dive into utilizing our intuition and those feelings of okay, I have to walk this path on faith. And it allows us to tap back into that core element of our spiritual experience, which is faith. Faith in ourselves, faith in what's beyond us, faith that those two things come together and there's an element of something that's meant to be. Now, if the Page of Wands and the Hierophant coming in underneath this, the Page of Wands is when we reconnect to our eternal flame, that inner passion within us, and we almost get a chance to see it in that fresh perspective of, oh my gosh, this is something that I love to do, or we get a glimmer of what our magic could create. But it is still, in a page setting, it's still a little bit unpolished. It's that almost like awe and wonder again at something that is within us, and we know that it can be more, but we have to go out and work with it. We have to practice with it. We have to figure out what our magic wand really can do. And with the Hierophant coming in, this is where sometimes when we get to this point of reconnecting with that part of ourselves, that passionate part of ourselves, we can come up against a hard wall of something that's kind of kept us back from playing with our magic, so to speak. This can be a belief system where we don't feel that we're good enough to take this out into the world and show it to other people. This is where we may connect to something that directly opposes a religious structure we follow, a governmental structure we choose to follow, or just an internal set of rules that we have placed for ourselves that have told us we can only do things in a specific way. And so that's really the challenge this month for you, Capricorn, is to really have faith and connect to what you're passionate about. Understand that this might have to kind of shatter some rules or boundaries you've put in place for yourself or that you've chosen to follow. This might feel kind of like a very tight month for you, Capricorn, that you're almost like reconnecting to all these beautiful aspects of yourself on an emotional and passionate level, but you're feeling that restriction of what is. I mean, the Hierophant can even represent a marriage. This can be something that we've bound ourselves contractually to. It could be a job that you no longer care about, but feel like you have to continue to go to. And it's restricting that kind of free feeling of, I want to go out and do what feels good. I want to go out and play with this newfound connection to myself, but the way is unclear. If I go out and I challenge these restrictions or I break these boundaries, where is that going to lead? And Spirit's really asking you right here with the Page of Cups, lean in to what emotionally fills your cup, and do so with kind of an optimistic beginner's mindset. All right, so now I'm going to pull cards here, and we're going to really dive deep into what your challenge is for this month. What are you unlocking about yourself? I really think this month is going to be that reconnection to yourself on a very simple level. I don't know kind of how else to put this. It's like breaking down those boundaries to get back to the core experience of what you love, who you love, the magic within yourself, getting back to that feeling of like, I just enjoy doing this. I forgot that life could be this fun, this easy almost. Ooh, so we have the Ace. Let me put it like this. So we have the Hierophant and the Ace of Wands. So here we go. Here's the Hierophant coming up again. So this is a big month of you facing those restrictions. This is in your main challenge position. And with the Ace of Wands coming up underneath that on the other side, that's a true connection to divine inspiration, to your eternal flame. It is the start. It is the opportunity for something new. And I think for some of you, you're having a really hard time breaking past some boundaries that have been set in place for quite some time. Okay, so we have the Three of Swords at the heart of your reading. I'm going to pull your last two additional cards here, and then we'll jump in. So the Hierophant is also the High Priest in the tarot deck. It's actually having, in addition to being a card that represents the rules and the structures we follow, that it's one of being able to have that higher vision, to be able to see beyond. And that's why the Hierophant actually makes and helps set those structures, because he's seeing what's going to happen in the future. So he understands what needs to be put in place now. And where this can become a block is sometimes we look to the future and we think there's going to be a specific outcome. And so we try to put things in place to help protect ourselves or protect that outcome that we think is going to happen. And that's where, when the moon comes in, there's that realization of we can't always control the outcome. We can't always have the way be completely clear for us. Oh, wow, that's way too many. Let's see if we can get just one or two more here. What we have to remember is that the only thing that's within our control is what we choose to do, our own actions, how we choose to perceive our experience, so our own internal perception. And then we have to walk forward with faith. We have to walk forward with our cup confidently, innocently, ready to say, well, if this is what I love, and if this is what I feel like I enjoy doing, I have to just go out there and enjoy the ride. I can't always be worried about what's to come. My apologies, Capricorn. My daughter woke up from her nap. So anyways, talking about, again, you can't always anticipate what's to come, but we still have to have faith and follow what we feel we want to follow. Okay, so to dive right in here. So we have the Hierophant, the Ace of Wands, Three of Swords at the heart of your reading, and then we have Nine of Swords and the Emperor. So what you're facing this month is really being able to overcome those boundaries, those hurdles, those things that you have followed, or the belief systems you have put in place that are preventing you from really tapping into this new divine inspiration, this fire, this either idea or again, tapping into and rediscovering what you're passionate about, who you are in your uniqueness. And this could be, for some of you, this could be a new idea for a business. This could be a fresh connection to a creative aspect of your experience. But what's coming up here in the heart of your reading, this is really what Spirit's asking you to embrace to help you really overcome the challenge this month of breaking through your own boundaries to face the unknown, to really bring this new version of yourself out. There's the Three of Swords. And the Three of Swords really speaks to the wounds of the past, those voices in our head that tell us we're not good enough, that tell us we are not lovable, or that we can't possibly move forward. And sometimes it's just the simple thing of we failed in the past, or we're not strong enough. We had somebody tell us this at some point in our life, and we've carried that forward. Spirit's asking you to face those wounds that you carry with you on a mental level. To really take a look at where those voices have originated, where those beliefs in yourself have come from, and get to the root of them. Because the traditional Rider-Waite tarot version of the Three of Swords shows three swords sticking into a heart. And so these are things that they're thoughts. That's what the swords represent in the tarot, is air and our mind. But they come down into the core of our emotional being, and it's the wounds that actually penetrate us in that heart-centered space. And that's why they're so important to face and understand and release. It's not just our thoughts, it's how that's actually causing us to emotionally perceive our life in a wounded way. Now, on the other side of this, we have the Nine of Swords, and this is the card of truly the thoughts that keep us up at night. This isn't a card of overthinking. This is a card of all those negative what ifs that come in. What if I do want to follow this new inspiration for a business and it doesn't work out, or I lose money? What if I want to start painting again and no one likes my paintings, or I don't have the time to even bring this into my experience? Or what if I do want to change something integrally in my life? What if I no longer believe in that religious structure or system I followed my whole life? What if I no longer feel that the government I've supported is supporting me? I mean, these are really integral questions that are coming through here. Now, they can be on a very basic level that's unique to you, or they could be on a much broader element where you're getting back to what truly inspires you. And that may, again, just like with the call to judgment, really put a kind of finality on a past version of yourself where you're realizing I'm being called up into a much stronger, much more in touch version of myself that is in touch with my inspiration, is in touch with my feelings, is in touch what I love in life. And that can be scary when we're then again faced with the things we've held ourselves accountable to up to this point. This is a big change. And for some of you, this is really that kind of aha moment. And the final point of challenge here that you're being asked to face, to really lean into coming out into this almost like getting back to your inner childlike environment that's going on around you, is the Emperor. And the Emperor is that reminder that we are each the emperor to our own empire. It's that reminder that we are truly the center of our own universe. And there are 8 billion people on this planet, or possibly more. And yet each one of us is truly the center of our own universe. So it's the reminder there that you get to call the shots in your life. The emperor gets to choose what he wants to follow. And you don't have to get hung up on that it's a masculine or feminine energy. It's more just the reminder that we each have that position within ourselves, with that perspective of our own life, that we are the one that calls the shots. And sometimes we have to make choices to change something. When you think about being the emperor to an empire, there are points in any empire that when we look back through history where there needed to be a massive restructuring. Something didn't work anymore. Those systems that were put in place, or the rules or the regulations, the laws, needed to change. And for some of you, this is that reminder that something needs to change. There's a new version of yourself. And when there's a new version of yourself waiting to come out, that might mean that, again, some systems you have put in place, something that you followed your whole life, those things are now needing to be reshaped. And Capricorn, you're just the person to do that. You are a sign whose astrological motto is I use, meaning that you have the ability to take what's within your experience and use it to accomplish the goal or the task at hand. You are the cardinal earth sign, and you are an example to all earth signs as to what you can create in the physical when you truly have that single-minded, goal-oriented perspective, and you just take from your experience and make it happen. And this is a really powerful month for you, Capricorn, if you can accept the change within yourself. Accept that you're being called up to want something more for yourself, that you're being called up to grow beyond the current version of yourself, the part of yourself you're leaving behind, and that therein lies the reconnection to love. Therein lies the new inspiration, the new something to have a forward vision for. But you're going to have to get over the wounds of the past, the things that come through the mind and pierce you directly to the heart. Those things that don't allow you to reconnect to a beautiful, playful, childlike energy of what you love about life, what you love about yourself, and are preventing you from being able to make major shifts in what you believe, how you believe, the rules that you follow, and to realize you are the emperor in your own life. And if a fence has to be taken down and repositioned, if a boundary has to be changed, if the rules have to be scrapped and it's time to even get together with a significant other in your life and it's time to maybe talk about what is the change that needs to happen, this is that perfect month to do so. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull 3 additional cards for the concepts of curiosity, courage, and contemplation. And these are where 3 additional pieces of spiritual advice for you that's going to help you be able to navigate this this month of change, this month of major, the resetting of your belief systems, the resetting of the boundaries of your empire. And for some of you, this may need to be to break down those fences and realize that the world can be your empire, that you can go beyond what you know. Okay, let's see here. Let's see, what does Capricorn need to know about the concept of curiosity? So this is really where, oh, sorry, I guess I was holding the deck upside down. So I'll put this right side up. Okay, so we have number 26. It says hostilities. And you can see here it kind of looks like, a Conan the Barbarian kind of individual. Number 26 breaks down to the number 8, which is a number about personal empowerment, empowered leadership, and about manifesting in the physical. Now, this is, when we talk about curiosity, this is where Spirit would like you to open up to be curious, to realize that something about being curious about hostilities in your life this month is going to kind of herald in an aha moment for yourself. So when we think about hostilities, I always look at this as the gatekeeper card. The gatekeeper card meaning that we are standing here feeling like we have to kind of fight the world, that we almost bring that energy of, I get the kind of 5 of Swords energy from the tarot with this card, that we're willing to we want to win at all cost, or we want to protect at all cost. But when we think about coming from a place of personal empowerment, when we are confident in what we want, we are confident in where our passion lies, and we understand what brings us that feeling of emotional fulfillment, that need within us that needs to be met for us to feel that connection to love, the connection to everything, that kind of almost spiritual connection to where maybe you don't believe in God per se, but it's that connection to something in life that makes you feel like that you see the beauty and the divinity in life, that you don't need to defend it on this level. There's nothing that is in the realm of the spiritual that needs to be defended with a sword. This is an element of realization. Where can you be curious about possibly where you're coming? You're almost holding yourself back because you're afraid of showing this innocent part of yourself. You're afraid of showing the wand. You're afraid, it's almost like you're anticipating the negative reaction from the systems you've put in place. This would be like not wanting to tell your significant other that you want to make a career change, or not wanting to believe that maybe now it's time for you to move to a new location because you've always put in place that you are going to be here in this space, whatever it is. And you're sitting here in your mind, and I think this is where the 3 of Swords and the 9 of Swords is coming through, that in your mind, you're running through this battle scenario of who you're going to have to fight, who you're going to have to defend off, what is going to be all of these things that are going to come in when you try to be the emperor and change something in your life. And I think what you have to realize is, where can you be curious about, where can you put the sword down? Where can you instead open up from the place of the emotional, excited child and be confident that the world will meet you, your external environment and those people within it will meet you at that place, that they will hold and honor your cup. And it does not need to be defended. It does not need to be held back. It does not need to be protected so that no one can experience it. It's quite the opposite. It's time to put the sword down and to pick up the cup. So where can you be curious about where perhaps you're anticipating a fight or a battle that is not to come? And where can you open yourself up instead to just concentrating on the enjoyment of what you love, and concentrate on how can you openly share that with others? Okay, so now we're going to pull a card here for the concept of curiosity. And this is where Spirit would like, I'm sorry, not curiosity, courage. This is where Spirit would like you to be courageous in taking action this month. Okay, so we have surrender, frustration. It says frustration doesn't open any doors. The key to resolving a dilemma or dissolving a block is to take a breath, center yourself, and regroup so you may approach the situation more calmly. And this is kind of coming in alignment with the hostilities card here. There's something around a change that you know needs to be made. But sometimes what we can feel frustration when we know that something in our empire needs to change, that we have to change something on a major level. But we can feel frustrated because one of two things. It might be that all of a sudden we feel this obvious change and we're wondering, well, why isn't anybody helping me? Why isn't anybody getting on board? Why isn't this change happening faster or more efficiently? And it's possibly because you might not be actually expressing this part of yourself. When judgment comes in, sometimes we just hear the call or we feel the change and we think, well, this is just the next obvious step in my experience. And to those around us who don't hear the call or feel that internal change, they're going along their day-to-day life as it's always been, within the boundaries of the empire that you guys share together, whether this is a work environment, whether this is a home environment. And it might feel like, okay, I'm ready for this change. I'm ready to go. How come nothing's happening? Or how come people aren't buying into my vision? And this is where we have to get to that point of getting past the frustration and realizing that the emperor is going to be the one that has to stand up and give the speech to tell everybody the why. Why are we breaking down the wall on the east side of the empire to expand it or to bring it in or to leave it open? Why are we changing the rules so that everybody can do something differently? It's about explaining the why and the emotional component. When you think about giving a speech to others that we want them to buy in, it's about bringing the emotional quality to that. What are we connecting to, and how can this be better for everyone involved? And in addition to that, when we get to that point of thinking in that way, we actually help ourselves as well, because we can, in trying to convince others of a change we know needs to happen, we in turn solidify within ourselves those reasons as well. So to help you really get past, I think, kind of this hostile feeling of like, it's me against the world. I'm going to have to, get up there and just make this change all by myself, and all the villagers might be angry with me. And it's about instead surrendering that frustration and saying, well, let's give it a chance first. Let's start to really see what this change is going to entail. And then let's start to get into more of a salesman-like mindset of how can I then communicate this change so that I can stay calm, so that I can realize that others, again, are outside of my experience. I can't control them, but I can show them why I'm choosing to make these changes, and hopefully they'll be there with me to make that happen. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull a final card here for the concept of contemplation. And this is a point that Spirit would like you to keep in mind as you move through the month, to really kind of ground this message so that you can move through it effectively, and I think in the best possible way, so that you really do allow this inner shift to come into being. So we have dance with life. It says, do something to change your energy. And I think for some of you, I'm hearing that Taylor Swift song, Shake It Off. I think it's almost like that. Like you just need to get up, dance around the room, shake it off, and realize we are called to have these changes in our life, not to torture us, not to drag us through the ringer or to be a spiritual test. This is in an effort to free us to feel that connection to love, to free us to feel that connection to inspiration, to free us to tap back into our magic. And to also understand that at certain points in our life, the rules do have to change. And we often get to be the active participant in changing those rules and changing those structures and changing even our own internal belief systems as to what we're capable of and what we want for ourselves. So this month, Shake it off, Capricorn. Get yourself out there. Yes, keep being your Capricorn self, taking the steps towards what you want to manifest, the goals that you want to have and you want to meet. But it's time to come back to this place of selling somebody on the new dream. And that message is coming through for a couple other signs this month. There's a feeling of communication, even though I don't see any cards of communication here, meaning like the Knight of Swords. There's an element with the Emperor coming up of kind of giving that speech, of coming out and saying, this is what I've been dealing with internally. And these are the things that need to change. But this is the reason why. This is the new connection. This is what I'm experiencing. And the way forward may be a little unclear. We may not know if the changes I want to make are going to be the best or what's going to actually happen. But at this point, I know what I need and what I want, and I know what lights my fire. And I have an idea as to how we can implement this. And that's really connecting with the Page of Cups. It's coming out there and just saying, I love this. I'm excited about this. And this is the reason why I want to break through some of these barriers. Okay. So Capricorn, this is a month of really readdressing all of those systems you've put in place, all of those things, all of the rules you followed, all of the internal structures, your belief systems, and even your external belief systems, those things that have held you kind of in place. And to understand now, to look at them from the fresh perspective of who you are today, and to just really reconnect, get past those wounds that haunt you on a mental level, to get to that place of pure love for yourself, for others, to allow for this new spark to come in. Now, for those of you who'd like to go deeper into this message, there is going to be an extended. You can click on the Vimeo link below to see that. We will dive in. I'll pull clarifiers for the majority of the cards on the table. We're really going to dive in here to the Hierophant and the Ace of Wands. And then I'll pull cards for the element of romantic love to see what's coming in for you around that. And then a final card for the overarching spiritual lesson you're learning about yourself this month. If you'd like to book a personal reading or just learn more about me as a spiritual coach, you can click on the link in the description box below to visit my website. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing all of you again in August for your August illumination reading. And I wish you all a very illuminating and boundary breaking month, Capricorn. Bye.